The string quartet fell silent as Olivia Bennet stepped into the Hamptons chapel with her 15-year-old twins, Madison and Sophia. The groom, Ethan Caldwell, went pale at the altar. The bride, Emily Parker, smiled in a gown Olivia had designed, blissfully unaware. Cameras lifted, whispers flared. Margaret Caldwell clutched her pearls, recognizing the past arriving dressed for war. Olivia met Ethan's eyes, unblinking, steady, unstoppable. Their daughters squared their shoulders. This wedding was about to become a battlefield. The priest cleared his throat. Ethan took one step back. Olivia took one forward, and the room held its breath, trembling together. Before we reveal what Olivia does next, and the secret Emily is about to hear, tap subscribe, like this video, and share with someone who loves dramatic, heartfelt twists. Drop a comment. Should Emily cancel the wedding, forgive, or confront Ethan on the spot? Tell us what you do. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. Ready? Take a breath. What happens now will decide three futures: a mother's two daughters, and a man who thought the past would stay buried forever. 10 years earlier, Olivia's life in Greenwich, Connecticut, looked polished from the outside. Charity galas, PTA meetings, Sunday brunches, kisses goodnight. She had once dreamed of becoming one of America's top event planners, sketching venues and designing dream weddings in college. But she traded that ambition for school drop-offs, late-night spreadsheets, and making Ethan shine. Madison and Sophia, 5 years old, drew castles on placemats and called him hero. Inside that sunlit kitchen, Olivia believed loyalty built forever. Margaret, visiting with critiques disguised as advice, watched like a jeweler judging glass for flaws. Ethan laughed along, blind to the sacrifice behind everything. Margaret Caldwell never approved. She spoke in compliments sharpened to cut. Such a sweet homemaker, meaning small. Stability is important, meaning dull. Over coffee, she fed Ethan doubt spoon by spoon, painting Olivia as predictable, unworthy of the Caldwell name. She described the kind of wife a CEO deserved: glamorous, connected. Olivia set the table and swallowed the sting. Ethan, eager for his mother's praise, mistook poison for wisdom. Their home felt colder. Conversations shortened. Olivia tucked the twins in and lingered at the doorway, wondering when laughter had started echoing instead of filling rooms completely. Photos on mantels seemed colder. It happened on an ordinary Tuesday. Rain stitched the windows while spaghetti simmered, and the twins argued over crayons. Ethan arrived early, tie still neat, eyes already far away, remote. He said he needed honesty. He said Olivia was boring and predictable. He said they'd grown apart, and his future demanded more. She stood very still, ladle in hand, listening to a life unspool. Madison cried. Sophia hid beneath the table. Margaret's car lights flashed outside, waiting. Ethan signed the papers within the week, leaving a silence that rang louder than any slammed door forever. She tasted metal, fury, disbelief. Olivia moved the girls into a one-bedroom walk-up that smelled like paint and pine cleaner. She folded hope into second-hand sheets and promised stability. At night, when the building settled and the city hummed, she cried quietly into her pillow. The twins remembered the doorway where Ethan turned away, the suitcase, the way Mom whispered, "It's okay." When nothing was okay, this was the night her world shattered. Olivia took inventory. 2 growing daughters, overdue bills, a heart split but beating. She decided pain would not be the period at the end of their sentence. Love would continue speaking. Resolute, she said yes to everything that paid: breakfast shifts, cleaning, clerking at a party rental store. She learned to stretch dollars in daylight. Between jobs, she sketched centerpieces on napkins and listed vendors she admired. Exhaustion pressed on her shoulders, but purpose flickered. Madison asked if Dad vanished forever. Sophia lined stuffed animals into pews and held paper weddings, giving each bride a happy ending. Olivia swallowed ache and kept moving, promising herself their story would not end in a storage unit and a stack of pink final notices, never again. She taped goals on the fridge, drew budgets, circled milestones. The spark returned at a small community center ceremony where the florist canceled an hour before vows. Olivia improvised with library roses, borrowed candles, and a runner she pressed by hand. She coached nervous vows, cued the music, and turned a near disaster into something tender and unforgettable. A guest filmed everything. A local page shared the clip. Then a lifestyle editor reposted. In a weekend, strangers messaged, "Could you plan mine? Could you rescue ours?" She didn't have a company name yet, only grit, and a feeling she'd found the door back to herself, finally. Relief tasted like sunlight after rain. She called it Eternal Grace Weddings, a promise to her girls and a compass for herself. Jobs snowballed, lakeside elopements, rooftop sunsets, ballroom sparkle. Olivia's style was practical magic. Backup plans disguised as fairy tales, timeline soft as ribbon yet strong as steel. Brides cried happy tears. Mothers hugged her in hallways. A modest team formed around her. Lauren, the photographer whisperer, Jason, the floral savant, Ava, the spreadsheet genius. Olivia paid debts, saved, and bought a second-hand van the twins christened Hope. The city began to say her name with respect, reverently. Referrals multiplied like confetti after a midnight toast. With momentum came headlines. The wedding miracle worker who saved the day. A celebrity posted a grateful reel. Bookings exploded. Olivia kept the focus on service, not spectacle. She taught her team to steady shaking hands, to notice the grandmother who needed a chair, to carry safety pins like talismans. Madison and Sophia, now teenagers, helped assemble welcome bags and learned invoices. Olivia's nights weren't for crying. They were for mood boards and menus. She wasn't chasing Ethan's shadow anymore. She was building something bright enough to light other people's beginnings beautifully. Their home buzzed again with possibility and pride. The twins had grown into striking 15-year-olds, their resemblance to Olivia undeniable. Madison was outspoken, sharp of word that cut like glass, while Sophia carried quiet strength, her silence sometimes louder than shouts. Together, they were Olivia's anchor and drive. Though their hearts still carried the wound of abandonment, they'd learned resilience by watching their mother. They saw how she turned broken beginnings into breathtaking endings for strangers. They whispered, "One day, Dad will see us again." Olivia prayed silently. If that day came, her girls would face it not as victims, but as young women forged through fire. Fate called on a Thursday morning. Tucked inside a velvet-embossed envelope, Emily Parker, Olivia's bubbly college friend, wanted her to design her dream Hamptons wedding. Emily gushed in the letter, "You're the best, Liv. No one else could make this day perfect." Olivia smiled faintly, flattered but hesitant. She'd built her empire carefully, balancing emotion with professionalism. Accepting Emily's wedding would be another jewel in her crown. Yet something in her chest tightened, a whisper she ignored. She set the letter down beside her coffee and decided, yes, one more wedding, one more dream. Destiny was already circling overhead, quietly. The first planning meeting glittered with nostalgia. Emily squealed, hugging Olivia tightly, chattering about champagne towers, string quartets, and silk drapery. She was radiant, engaged to the man she called her forever. Olivia nodded, pen in hand, sketching possibilities, offering suggestions. Then Emily said the name, Ethan Caldwell. Olivia froze, pen tip snapping against the page. Her breath caught. Years collapsed into a single instant. Emily's eyes shone with oblivious joy, waiting for approval. Olivia forced a smile so practiced, it almost convinced herself. Inside, a storm cracked open. Fate had handed her not just a wedding, but a reckoning too. She returned home that night shaken, her daughters waiting at the table with open laptops and open hearts. Madison saw her mother's face first. What happened? Olivia exhaled and told them Ethan was remarrying and she'd been asked to design the wedding. Silence expanded, heavy and furious. Sophia's fists clenched, jaw trembling. Madison whispered, "He doesn't get to erase us." Olivia stroked their hands, voice steady. "This isn't about revenge. It's about truth. If we walk into that wedding, we walk in strong, together." The twins nodded. For the first time, anger and anticipation sharpened their resolve into something nearly electric. Olivia poured herself into the project with surgical precision. Every lace overlay, every chandelier, every aisle runner bore her touch. To Emily, she delivered artistry, professionalism, kindness. To herself, she carved armor from the work, shielding nerves that screamed louder each day. Margaret Caldwell appeared at one meeting, still perfectly coiffed, eyes narrowing when she saw Olivia. "You," Margaret hissed under her breath. Olivia replied evenly, "Me." The tension cracked like glass, but neither broke. Emily, oblivious, clapped her hands. "This will be the wedding of the decade," she cheered. Olivia thought, "Yes, but not for the reason you believe." The night before the wedding, Olivia lay awake listening to Madison and Sophia whisper in the next room. They practiced what they might say if their father approached. Madison rehearsed sharp questions, Sophia's softer ones heavy with hurt. Olivia pressed a pillow to her chest, torn between protecting them and letting them speak their truth. She remembered their small hands at age 5 tugging Ethan's sleeve, begging him not to leave. Do children forget pain? No, they remembered enough. Tomorrow, truth would walk down the aisle too, hand in hand with innocence lost and strength newly found together. Wedding morning, the Hamptons' estate glittered beneath morning sun, awash in white roses and gold-draped chairs. Journalists gathered at the gates, sending opulence and gossip. Inside, Emily beamed, wrapped in silk and champagne laughter. Olivia adjusted her veil with practiced grace, offering reassurance that cost nothing but felt priceless. Madison and Sophia dressed in muted gowns, heads high, eyes sharp. Ethan paced in his suite, Margaret whispering strategy like an old general before battle. Yet unease gnawed him, a phantom chill he couldn't name. Destiny pulled at every ribbon, every flower, every whispered vow waiting to explode tonight. Guests gasped when Olivia entered the chapel with her daughters. Her reputation preceded her. Eternal grace weddings had become legend. People whispered admiration, unaware of the deeper story sewn into every stitch of decor. Ethan froze mid-step, color draining from his face. Margaret's hand tightened on his arm. Emily, radiant in Olivia's design, smiled warmly, misreading the tension. Madison caught Ethan's stare and refused to look away. Sophia's lips pressed in, holding years of silence ready to break. Olivia walked with regal calm, not as an intruder, but as the architect of the moment. The past had arrived. The ceremony unfolded like choreography. Harp strings murmured prayers, the hush of sacred air. Yet beneath perfection, unease spread like smoke. Ethan stumbled over vows, sweat lining his collar. Emily squeezed his hand, mistaking nerves for romance. Olivia arranged a candle, eyes meeting Ethan's with quiet defiance. Madison whispered Sophia, "He looks scared." Sophia answered, "He should be." The priest continued, voice rising toward forever, but forever already felt broken. The twins clasped each other's hands, hearts pounding. They weren't 5 anymore. They were 15, and tonight they will remind their father exactly what abandoning them had cost him. Reception begins. Crystal clinked, laughter spilled, cameras flashed. Emily twirled in her gown, giddy with champagne and praise. Guests hailed the Caldwell fortune and Olivia's artistry, oblivious to the tension splitting the air. Ethan forced smiles, eyes darting toward Olivia and the twins like shadows he couldn't escape. Margaret whispered constant warnings, but his pulse thundered louder. Madison leaned toward Sophia, voice low, "It's time." Sophia nodded, her courage trembling but steady. Olivia caught their glance, heart aching yet proud. This was no longer her confrontation. This was theirs. The truth would no longer hide beneath tablecloths and lies. Emily toasted with guests, glowing in the gown Olivia had crafted. Ethan forced laughter, eyes betraying dread. Olivia stood near the floral arch, calm yet vigilant, her daughters close. Madison whispered, "We can't let him pretend." Sophia's heart pounded, but she nodded. Olivia touched their shoulders gently. "When the moment comes, speak your truth. Don't be afraid." The twins inhaled together, steadying. Around them, champagne spilled and chatter roared, oblivious. Ethan's hand shook as he raised his glass. Margaret whispered, "Smile wider." Olivia thought, "The stage is set." It's not my hand that will strike. It's their voices tonight. Flashback to college years. Olivia remembered laughter in dorm rooms. Emily Parker sketching dream gowns while she planned dream weddings. Back then, they'd made promises. Olivia would design Emily's wedding someday. She never imagined Ethan would be the groom. The memory stung, sweet and cruel. Olivia thought of how dreams twist when tested by time. Emily's joy was genuine, undeserving of betrayal. Olivia's pen sketches had once carried hope. Now they carried history. She tucked the memory away, straightened her spine, and prepared for the truth ahead. Ethan's mind drifted during the speeches. He remembered Olivia in simpler years, folding laundry, smoothing his tie before meetings, whispering encouragement. He had traded constancy for appearances, substance for spectacle. Now her daughters stared like reflections he couldn't escape. He wanted to believe they were strangers, but Madison's glare was unmistakably his own fire, and Sophia's quiet strength mirrored Olivia. Sweat dripped down his back. Margaret leaned closer. Hold yourself together. But Ethan already felt unraveling threads pulling. The lies had lasted a decade, but lies buckle under weight. His eyes darted to Olivia, pleading silently. She looked away, mercilessly. A whispered plan. Madison tugged Sophia's hand beneath the table, whispering a pact. When the music softens, we go. No more hiding. Sophia's voice trembled. What if he denies us? Madison's jaw tightened. Then the world will know anyway. Olivia overheard, her heart torn. She wanted to shield them forever, but strength meant letting them step forward. Across the hall, Ethan laughed nervously with investors, unaware. Emily twirled with bridesmaids, radiant and doomed. Margaret commanded staff like a general. The daughters sat poised, rehearsed words burning inside them. Soon the moment would come. The music dimmed, lights softening as speeches concluded. The MC welcomed Ethan and Emily to dance. Applause thundered. Madison and Sophia rose, synchronized like destiny's clock striking. They stepped onto the floor, intercepting the couple before the first step. Gasps erupted. Cameras lifted. Ethan froze, Emily blinking in confusion. Dad, Madison said, voice like stone. Sophia added softly, do you even remember us? The room shattered in silence. Margaret clutched her pearls. Emily's smile faltered. Guests whispered. Phones rolling live. Olivia stood tall, unmoving. Her daughters had crossed a line from memory to reality, their voices tearing open the evening. Ethan stammered, throat dry. This isn't the time. Madison's voice cut sharp. You left when we were 5. We begged you not to go. Sophia's eyes watered. You never came back. Birthdays, graduations, nothing. Guests gasped, scandal spreading like fire. Emily stepped back, staring at Ethan. What are they talking about? She demanded. Margaret hissed security, but no one moved. Olivia's calm stare pinned them all. Madison raised her chin. We're your daughters, and you tried to erase us. Phones flashed brighter. Ethan reached out shakily. Neither twin moved. Their truth echoed louder than the string quartet's last fading note. Chaos unfolds. Emily's bouquet slipped from her hands. Ethan, is this true? Her voice trembled. Guests murmured. The press outside sniffed breaking scandal. Ethan tried. It's complicated, Madison barked. It's not complicated. You left us. Sophia's whisper carried farther than shouts. We were never enough. Olivia's chest ached, but pride lifted her too. Margaret stepped forward, voice sharp. This is slander. Olivia turned calmly, finally speaking. It's truth, and truth doesn't need permission. Emily's face crumbled. Tears welled, veil shaking. Olivia's silence for 10 years now condensed into words that struck harder than any slap could have delivered. Emily's knees buckled as she stumbled from Ethan's side. Bridesmaids caught her, confusion flashing. You never told me, Emily whispered, betrayal staining her voice. Ethan reached desperately. I thought it was behind me. Madison spat. We're not shadows. We're flesh and blood. Sophia's tears streamed. How could you erase your own children? Margaret's mouth twisted. fury rising. "This family doesn't air dirty laundry," she snapped. Olivia answered, tone steady final. "Then you should have washed it years ago." Guests erupted. Half gasps, half applause. For once, Margaret's commanding voice faltered. The fortress she built crumbled under truth's undeniable storm. Ethan fell to his knees, face pale. "Madison, Sophia, I was wrong. I was weak." His hands shook, reaching. Neither daughter moved. Madison's voice thundered. "You don't get to crawl back because you're caught." Sophia whispered, aching. "We cried for you every night. You never came." The crowd was transfixed. Emily's tears hardened into resolve. She ripped the ring from her finger, throwing it at Ethan's feet. "You don't deserve me. You don't deserve anyone," she declared. Olivia closed her eyes, exhaling a decade of weight. Every word, every tear became the verdict delivered. The aftermath begins. The reception unraveled in chaos. Guests leaving, journalists surging, staff scrambling. Emily stormed out, bridesmaids trailing. Margaret screamed orders, unheard. Ethan remained kneeling, surrounded by silence heavier than stone. Olivia gathered her daughters close. Madison wiped her eyes, still trembling but proud. Sophia leaned against Olivia, strength rediscovered. Together, they walked toward the exit, cameras capturing every step. Flashbulbs painted them in brilliance. Olivia whispered to her daughters, "We don't run from truth. We walk with it." Outside, reporters shouted questions, but Olivia smiled faintly. Tonight, they lived brighter than ever before. Outside the venue, reporters swarmed, cameras flashing as Olivia, Madison, and Sophia stepped into the night. Headlines were already forming. Billionaire groom exposed by hidden family. Olivia shielded her daughters with steady arms, guiding them toward the waiting car. Inside, Sophia whispered, "Did we do the right thing?" Olivia kissed her forehead. "The truth is always right." Madison stared out the window, fierce and unyielding. He'll never escape this now. Olivia's heart ached, yet she felt lighter than in years. For once, silence didn't mean defeat. It meant closure blooming like dawn after a long, unbroken midnight. Back inside, chaos reigned. Emily locked herself in the bridal suite, sobbing into lace. Bridesmaids whispered in disbelief, phones buzzing with live updates. Ethan slumped at the head table, humiliated, abandoned by allies. Margaret clutched her pearls, pacing like a caged lioness, issuing orders no one followed. "Shut this down," she barked. But staff ignored her, eyes glued to trending feeds. The empire she'd built around Ethan was crumbling in real time. Investors texted warnings. The Caldwell name, once iron, was suddenly glass. Ethan muttered, "What have I done?" But the answer didn't need words. The empty room answered loud enough. Emily's best friend barged into suite, eyes blazing. "He lied to you, Em. He had children. Who does that?" Emily collapsed on the chaise, mascara streaking like ink across silk. "I thought I knew him. I thought we had forever." Her friend handed her water, shaking her head. "You deserve better. The whole world knows now. Don't let him drag you further." Emily stared at the shattered ring box, once a symbol of promise, now a coffin of lies. She whispered, "He buried his family once. He won't bury me too." Resolve sharpened her grief into something unbreakable. The twins reflect. In the car, Madison and Sophia replayed the confrontation in whispers. Madison grinned fierce. "Did you see his face?" He couldn't even speak. Sophia's tears lingered, but her voice steadied. "We finally told him, after 10 years. Olivia squeezed their hands, her own tears silent. "You were brave," she whispered. Madison leaned back, sighing. It felt like justice. Sophia added softly, "It felt like goodbye." Olivia kissed them both. Tonight, her daughters had grown stronger, voices no longer bound to whispers but carried like thunder across silence. Meanwhile, Ethan staggered outside, swarmed by microphones. Reporters shouted, "Mr. Caldwell, did you abandon your children? Was your fiancé aware? What do you say to your daughters?" He raised his hands, trembling, stammering, no comment. The crowd pressed harder, cameras merciless. Margaret shoved her way forward, snarling, "Back off!" But the headlines were already alive, spreading globally in seconds. Ethan's once proud name was trending alongside words like betrayal and coward. For the first time, he realized money couldn't shield him. His empire was burning, not from scandal alone, but from the daughters whose eyes reflected every mistake he'd buried. Emily emerged, chin high despite tears. Reporters spinning to her instantly. "Emily, are you still marrying him?" She steadied herself, voice shaking but strong. "No. I refuse to marry a man who abandons his children and hides them like shame." Gasps erupted. Margaret lunged forward. "You don't understand." Emily cut her off, eyes blazing. "No, you don't understand. Family isn't disposable." The crowd erupted in cheers. Phones captured her every word. Ethan staggered back, gutted. Emily's veil blew in the night breeze like wings, torn but free. Her heartbreak had become defiance, and her courage painted Ethan's defeat permanent. Margaret's last stand. Margaret cornered Olivia near the parking lot. Fury unmasked. "You ruined him. You ruined us." Olivia faced her calmly, daughters at her side. "He ruined himself." "I only built beauty, you built lies." Margaret spat venom. "You'll never belong in this world." Olivia smiled faintly. "I don't need to. I built my own." With that, she turned, walking away, every step defying Margaret's decades of power. Madison whispered. She looked smaller now. Sophia added, because truth shrunk her. Margaret's empire had cracked, not by force, but by exposure. Olivia hadn't swung. She'd simply lifted the veil. That was enough. Inside the limo, Olivia scrolled her phone. Headlines flooding. Olivia Bennett, wedding designer, stuns world after truth bomb at Caldwell wedding. Photos showed her regal and unflinching beside her daughters. Clients emailed congratulations. Strangers praised her dignity. Madison read aloud. "They're calling you a hero." Sophia grinned weakly. "Finally, people see who you are." Olivia closed her eyes, overwhelmed. This wasn't fame she sought, but justice. She whispered, "It's not about revenge. It's about living with pride." Madison squeezed her hand. Sophia leaned against her shoulder. For once, they felt not abandoned but whole, and the world finally knew the truth. Ethan sat alone in the dark chapel, tuxedo rumpled, tie undone. Petals littered the floor like graves of promises. He whispered to no one, "I just wanted her approval." Margaret hovered, but even she looked defeated. Ethan saw Olivia's face in memory, the twins at 5 crying for him. Regret stabbed sharper than any headline. He muttered, "I lost them all." Margaret hissed, "We can fix this." Ethan shook his head. "No, Mother. Some things can't be fixed." For the first time, he saw her manipulation clearly and saw himself as a coward who obeyed. His empire was ashes now. Back home, Olivia tucked Madison and Sophia into their beds, brushing hair from their foreheads. They were no longer little girls, but tonight they looked at her with childhood trust rekindled. "You kept us strong," Sophia whispered. Madison added fiercely, "And we showed him we're not shadows." Olivia kissed them both, her heart full. She walked to her own room, staring at her sketches, dreams she'd once buried now alive. Outside, headlines screamed scandal. Inside, silence glowed like peace. Olivia whispered to herself, "We were always enough." And for the first time in years, she slept without tears. Morning light spilled into Olivia's home, soft and golden. The twins padded into the kitchen, hair tousled, eyes still heavy from last night's storm. Olivia poured coffee, steady as stone. Madison asked, "Do you think he'll try to see us again?" Olivia's hand paused on the mug. "He might," she said carefully, "but we choose what doors we open." Sophia whispered, this was just the beginning. Olivia kissed her forehead. For the first time, the girls looked forward, not backward. The past wasn't change anymore, it was fuel. Their story wasn't about him now. It was about them. Headlines rolled. Across America, newspapers splashed their faces. Twins confront billionaire dad. Olivia's company inquiries doubled overnight. Strangers online wrote comments. Proud of you, Olivia. Those daughters are brave. She scrolled silently, overwhelmed by strangers' love. Madison grinned. Mom, you're trending. Sophia giggled nervously. Olivia whispered, Fame fades, but truth stays. She promised herself never to let chaos consume them again. Margaret remained silent in media storms, her empire fading with every headline. Ethan vanished from press photos, a man undone by silence. For Olivia and her daughters, though silence wasn't shame, it was peace earned through courage. Ethan finally requested to meet. Olivia hesitated, torn between wounds and closure. The twins debated fiercely, Madison furious, Sophia curious. Olivia asked him gently, What do you want? Madison hissed, He doesn't deserve us. Sophia whispered, I need to see him one last time. Olivia's chest tightened. She agreed, but with terms. At the cafe, Ethan sat alone, eyes hollow. When they entered, he whispered, You've grown so much. Madison's glare cut deeper than words. Sophia's voice trembled. We remember everything. Ethan's tears spilled, regret too late. Olivia stood behind them, strong, refusing to shield him anymore. Justice didn't need anger. Cafe confrontation. Ethan pleaded, I was weak. I let my mother decide my life. I regret it every day. Madison spat back. Regret doesn't erase birthdays. Sophia asked softly, Did you ever love us? Ethan broke, voice shaking. Yes, always. I was a coward. Madison stood, fists clenched. We don't need cowards. Sophia touched her mother's hand, whispering, We're enough without him. Olivia nodded silently, proud. Ethan sobbed at the table, ignored by passers-by. The daughters walked away with Olivia, leaving him in fragments. The chapter of his absence had closed, not with revenge, but with indifference stronger than rage. Back home, Madison and Sophia climbed into their beds, silent but stronger. Olivia sat at her desk, sketching a new wedding design. For years, her art had been survival. Now it was joy again. She pinned a new mood board, eyes glimmering with possibility. What are you working on? Sophia asked sleepily. Olivia smiled. The future. Madison yawned. One where we don't need him. Olivia kissed her cheeks, whispering, One where love always wins. For the first time in years, their house hummed not with echoes of pain, but with laughter. Their story had turned. Their wounds became wings. Ethan's downfall. Weeks later, Ethan faced lawsuits, investors abandoning him. The company collapsed under scandal. Margaret, once untouchable, shrank from the public eye, reputation ruined. Ethan stood in his penthouse, staring at empty rooms, whispering, I traded everything for nothing. He replayed the wedding, the confrontation, the daughters' voices. Their faces haunted him more than headlines. He realized too late. His empire had been a castle of sand. Olivia hadn't destroyed him. He had destroyed himself. Alone, he wept, wishing for a second chance. But the world had moved on, leaving him behind the ashes of his own choices. Meanwhile, Olivia flourished. Eternal Grace Weddings became one of America's most sought-after firms, praised for not just beauty, but authenticity. She gave interviews, speaking of resilience, family, and truth. Madison teased, Mom, you're famous now. Sophia added, but still ours. Olivia laughed, hugging them. They traveled, celebrated birthdays with joy, and built memories Ethan had forfeited. Olivia never remarried, but never felt incomplete. Her life was full of work, laughter, and her daughter's pride. Pain had once defined her. Now, strength rewrote the story. The world saw her scars. She saw her crown. 3 years later, Madison prepared for college. Sophia applying to art school. Olivia beamed at their independence, though her heart tightened at goodbyes. Packing boxes filled the house. You'll be okay without us? Sophia asked. Olivia smiled. You are my okay. Madison rolled her eyes, but tears betrayed her. The twins had grown beyond abandonment. They carried resilience. Olivia's company thrived, yet nothing matched his pride. Ethan had become a ghost, forgotten by headlines, remembered only as a cautionary tale. Olivia whispered, "We survived the storm." Madison hugged her, fierce. Sophia echoed softly, "We turned it into sunlight." On a crisp autumn evening, Olivia hosted a charity gala in Manhattan, raising funds for single mothers. She stood at the podium, elegant in black silk, speaking truth. "Every ending can be a beginning," she told the audience. Madison and Sophia, radiant, clapped proudly. Olivia added, "Strength isn't never falling. Strength is rising anyway." The room erupted in applause. Reporters captured her words, headlines praising her resilience. Olivia smiled, scanning the crowd, finally unafraid. She wasn't defined by what Ethan took, but by what she built. For the first time, she saw her reflection not as survivor, but as legend. Full circle. Late at night, Olivia sat on her balcony, city lights glowing. Madison and Sophia laughed inside, their voices warm. Olivia whispered to herself, "We were always enough." She remembered the chapel, the confrontation, the tears, the silence. Now, she felt only peace. The world knew Ethan's shame, but more importantly, it knew their strength. She raised her glass toward the stars, honoring the journey. Tomorrow, new weddings, new dreams awaited. Tonight, she was whole. Their story didn't end in betrayal. It ended in redemption. And Olivia, finally, had won everything back.